Quick and indisputable facts start today's show. This is CNN 10. I'm Carl Azus, and Fridays are awesome. Thank you for watching this Friday the 13th edition of our program. We told you earlier this week how Pfizer, an American pharmaceutical company, says it's seen some promising early results from a coronavirus vaccine it's working on. It's not the only company racing to do this. Since the pandemic began, researchers worldwide have been trying to learn all they can about the disease and develop methods and medicines to stop it. Russia's government says it's approved 2 vaccines intended to protect people from COVID-19, though critics say the shots have not undergone the same amount of testing they would have in the United States. Still, the fact that several organizations have even gotten close is remarkable because it usually takes several years and often 10 or more for a vaccine to go from development to the doctor's office. Even when a vaccine is approved in the U.S., a CNN poll conducted last month indicated that 45% of Americans would not try to get vaccinated if a vaccine were widely available at low cost. 51% of Americans said they would try to get vaccinated, but that percentage had decreased since May, so that's one obstacle for Pfizer and other vaccine advocates, along with the basic logistics of distributing the shot around the world.
We are in a very, very good situation to have 1.3 billion doses globally again next year.
Millions of doses have already been made, ready to go, should the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine candidate get regulatory approval. This one uses messenger RNA, a new technology which poses a major challenge for storage and transportation of the vaccine.
We have to keep the product very cold and shipped in very much sub-freezing temperatures. Then there will be a short term of stability, perhaps at refrigerated temperatures, and that's going to be a logistical challenge.
Logistics firms like UPS, FedEx and Deutsche Post DHL started planning for this months ago.
We have about 9,000 healthcare specialists around the globe, about 140 certified warehouses around the globe, about another 100 terminals that are certified for healthcare. We also had to make some specific investments in minus 80 degrees storage points and containers to be able to distribute. So those are all things that we had to do.
These firms are a critical link between the pharmaceutical firms and governments.
What we have to focus on is our interaction with our customers. When they say that we need to be ready, we're working and we're planning accordingly to that, and we will be ready.
Logistics firms may be ready to transport a COVID-19 vaccine. Some countries may not be ready to receive it.
This challenge is probably the biggest logistical challenge we've ever faced, regardless of the temperature. Minus 80 adds another dynamic and another problem. I'm being told that this vaccine isn't really designed and being expected to be used in low and middle income countries. That personally concerns me because we should be making sure that we deliver the vaccine equitably.
Other promising COVID-19 vaccine candidates are nearing the end of phase 3 trials, and they won't all need sub-zero storage. They will, however, all need huge logistical support to make it to all the corners of the world. Anna Stewart, CNN, London.
10-second trivia. Which of these events took place in 1621? The Mayflower sailed from England, the 30 Years' War began, the first Thanksgiving was celebrated, or William Shakespeare died? These are all events from the 1600s, but it was in 1621 that the first Thanksgiving meal was celebrated. There is no historical evidence that turkey was served at that first Thanksgiving meal. Venison and goose were more probable. But for many Americans, it's hard to imagine Thanksgiving without the traditional bird on the table. It's also hard to imagine not getting together with family and friends, though as we told you yesterday, coronavirus and its related restrictions may affect some people's ability to do that. How about shopping? The day after Thanksgiving is known as Black Friday. It's called that because in retail terms, being in the black means making a profit. And that's what many retailers look forward to, as Black Friday traditionally marks the start of the holiday shopping season, with Christmas about a month away. But the nature of how Americans shop has been changing in recent years, and 2020 could dramatically accelerate that change.
Black Friday used to look like this. Now, it looks like this.
If you think about Black Friday, long lines in the store or even outside the store for people to get in, you just can't have that this year.
Pushed by the growth of big box stores, Black Friday started gaining traction in the 80s and 90s. But in recent years, the appeal of waiting in line for hours has waned.
Black Friday was, in the past, the day where you would go to the stores and get the deals that you couldn't get anywhere else, anytime else. But now there's deals that are comparable online, not only on Cyber Monday, but throughout the holiday season. So I think there's no longer that sense of urgency to shop on that specific day in the way that there was maybe 10 years ago.
Due to the pandemic, the future of the annual event is even more uncertain.
The pandemic has really affected pretty much everything about the way we shop, and the question is how much of that is permanent and how much is temporary. As it relates specifically to the holiday season, I think the biggest change is going to be more shopping online.
Online sales were rising before the pandemic. In 2019, shoppers spent more than $600 billion online. According to the Commerce Department, that's up nearly 15% from the previous year. And big retailers have noticed. Companies are offering more deals more often.
Companies are trying to incentivize people to shop earlier by starting their promotions earlier in this season.
Last year, we hosted a single in-store event. This year, we are spreading those savings over 3 separate events.
Amazon normally has their Prime Day in July. This year, because of the pandemic, they didn't have it in July, and they ultimately ended up moving it to mid-October. And what we saw was a lot of the mass merchants try to respond with their own promotions to compete with Amazon. So Target moved their deal days to compete in those same days that Amazon was holding their Prime Day. JCPenney had a similar event. Walmart was also doing a lot of promotions.
So what does Black Friday look like in 2020? It might look a bit different for everyone.
30 states hit a record in their 7-day average of new cases in this last week. 30 of the 50 states hitting a new record in new infections in this past week.
With online shopping rising and the pandemic ongoing, the ritual of staking out a brick and mortar store and finding deals you couldn't find anywhere else might be long gone.
So I think Black Friday was already losing a lot of relevance, and I think the pandemic might ultimately end up just being kind of the nail in the coffin for the holiday. Not to say we won't have it in some form, but I think it's not going to go back to what it was.
If it looks like a dolphin, swims like a dolphin, and performs like a dolphin, it must be a robot? This one is a robot, not a dolphin. It's a creation of an engineering company that makes lifelike animatronics for movies. And according to the Reuters news agency, the company hopes robots will one day replace live animals at theme parks. What's unknown is if crowds will pay to see robots instead of real animals, and whether the animatronics price tag will be worthwhile to aquariums. The environmental news company EcoWatch reports that a robot dolphin like this one costs more than $26 million, which may send investors beat to the drawing board to use their melons about whether blowholing that much money to endorse an animatronic alternative puts them in the swim or sinks their project. It's something they can't be flippant about. Dolphin puns. There's an ocean of possibilities. I'm Carl Azus for CNN 10. Some of you are watching from Clinton, Maryland. I'm talking about the Hornets of Surrattsville High School. Thank you for checking out our show. They did the only thing you can do to get a shout out on CNN 10. They subscribed and left a comment on our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/CNN